Many people crave fame. This can be for a variety of reasons. For some, it's a way to escape an otherwise inescapable position. Others find the power and influence that come along with being famous intoxicating. And for some people, it's the ultimate form of validation. There are many financial and social benefits to being famous, so it's no wonder that this is a target for so many people. But fame can be a double-edged sword. In their desperation to hit the big time, many people can be taken advantage of or sell their soul for a taste of the high life. There are some people that do not crave fame but instead have it thrust upon them. So strong is their magnetism that fame cannot help but orbit them. Then we have some people that are used against their will by an empire of powerful aliens to be famous across many galaxies without ever being paid for their service. This is the Frank Chu story.
Yes, my name is Frank Chu, and I was published by the San Francisco Chronicle. It was concerning some populations of other planets, about other societies across other galaxies.
Interesting. Frank Chu was born on the 24th of March 1960 in San Francisco. Not much is known about his early life apart from the fact that he attended UC Berkeley and California State University, Hayward, where he earned an associate degree in business administration. He also worked as an accountant and a Class 1 truck driver. It's unclear why exactly, but one day in 1989, Frank started to protest on the streets of San Francisco. By this point, he had moved to Oakland, California, so he would travel every day from Oakland to San Francisco with a sign and walk around the street not saying much to anyone, but with a quiet determination within himself to see justice done. As the months went by, more and more people would notice this man with his sign, like a spectre haunting the streets. Every day Frank would appear, then as night would fall he would vanish. As time went by, it became clear that Frank was protesting a labor dispute and was asking for US presidents to be impeached over this labor dispute. Month after month and year after year, Frank could be found protesting on the streets of the city in his distinctive uniform of smart but somewhat ill-fitting clothing and sunglasses. As the people of San Francisco would talk to Frank, he would happily explain the shocking details of his situation to them and give an explanation as to the reason that he was protesting on the streets every day. So let's get into the reason that Frank was protesting. When he was a child, he would appear in a very popular reality TV show called The Richest Family. This TV show was broadcast across 110 galaxies, with Frank being the main star of the show. Now you may be thinking, what is wrong with this? It sounds like a good thing. Well, dear viewer, Frank's protests have revealed an intriguing tangled web of corruption at the very highest level. Frank claims that presidents of the United States are working in conjunction with the CIA and FBI in service of an intergalactic network of civilizations that have come together to use CIA telepathic inventions like invisible cameras that have a cloaking ability, or work on some kind of frequency that makes us unable to see them. These cameras have been filming Frank since he was young and continue to film him even as he protests them filming him. The footage from these cameras are used to make some kind of movie or TV show that is then viewed across many galaxies. Frank is mainly protesting the fact that he doesn't get paid for his performance, and he seems to really dislike the actions of American presidents who are embezzling the money that he is owed from the galaxies that view his content. He seems to really dislike Bill Clinton, who he claims is responsible for the death and cover-up of Martin Luther King, for slander against 1,000 galaxies. He is a traitor to 100,000 galaxies, and Frank alleges that he is responsible for attempted murder cases against 1 million galaxies. He also doesn't like George Bush and blames him for Frank not getting paid. He also claims that many of these presidents are clones or copies, which is why he calls for Bill Clinton to be impeached long after Bill Clinton has left office, and that the presidents all have 100 wives. He doesn't think that all of the presidents are bad, though, as some are working to help him, such as Barack Obama, who Frank considers as innocent and against the corruption that is stopping him from being paid for the movies that he has starred in. Strangely enough, he also seems to like Hillary Clinton, even though she is the husband of his main enemy. He has stated that he would vote for her, but sadly the 12 galaxies get in the way of him voting most of the time. There are many videos on the internet of Frank talking to people, and I have mostly pieced this story together from these interviews, but it is a very complex situation and it can be a little hard to follow sometimes.
Also, the treasons committed against 130 galaxies, and I was not paid as a movie star. Also, there's about some telepathic scientific inventions with some rhetorical treasons committed with slanders, just with extrasensory perceptions, brainwashing me with numerous grand thefts and embezzlements, just trying to create some minor laryngitis or some permanent laryngitis against my campaigns committed by the CIA and Bill Clinton's and just former presidents, George Washington's and Benjamin Franklin, with some resurrections that were top secret behind closed doors in Washington. But also, I think most of the protesters here today that came out today, I think they were also on behalf of my protests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, what does that mean?
Okay, it was about other populations, other galaxies, and it was him ruling 12 galaxies of populations with Bill Clinton's becoming more prejudiced than the worst criminal worldwide, involved with burglaries, slanders, treasons against 100,000 galaxies, and with attempts at murder cases committed against 1 million galaxies, and a very serious slanders committed against 1,000 galaxies of populations. And I was not paid as a TV star and movie star, so I was filmed with CBS, ABC World News, and I met John Blackstone, CBS, and Mike Swayze, ABC, so I'm trying to get it proven about 2009 in Washington, D.C. too. And today, the nice crowds today had a chance to observe my protest too.
Frank claims that everyone on Earth is given holidays to space but him. I'm unclear why only he is left behind. He has also stated that the 12 galaxies have erased humanity's memory, which is why we don't remember him being a child star, and that former presidents are trying to hide the truth about other galaxies from him by brainwashing him. Frank has talked about what these aliens look like, and there seem to be different races across the galaxies, with some being reptilian humanoids, others being taller and fairer than humans, and others being shapeshifters. In case you were wondering, they have scooters in the 12 galaxies. Frank does tell us what the 12 galaxies are like, but they are a little too advanced for me to truly comprehend.
Tell me a little bit more about 12 galaxies.
Those are quintilogical galaxies and alphatronic rocket vacations and humanoid space vacations and some quadrilogical chemical war crimes with some tetralogical cosmopolitans with rocket vacations, space stations, and flying saucers with other populations on other planets across 12 galaxies. They were top secret by the CIA behind closed doors in Washington, outdating the automobile society and outdating those international airlines.
Frank has a plan with these protests. He hopes that the more attention he gets, the more his struggle will be mainstreamed. He has asked people to contact TV stations to spread his message in the hopes that news will spread across the galaxies, and there will be outrage, which in turn will put pressure on the 12 galaxies, and he can finally get paid. He also really wants the UN to look into his case. Firstly, so they can allow him to travel to space with the rest of us, and hopefully they can help him get paid the money that he is owed. He has mentioned that he plans to sue the CIA for damages for loss of earnings. The amount that he wants from them changes from $3.5 billion to $20 billion. But regardless of the amount, I would love to see this case in the news at some point in the future.
Put his big cock in your mouth and take it all in. You love to boast of it. And how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
What's the story today?
Clintons and friends, maybe some classified allegations of some quintilogical populations kept top secret behind closed doors in Washington. With some 12 galaxies American presidents guilty of treasons against some other populations and 120 galaxies from the solar system, a tectonic society. And also the Clintons in those 12 galaxies might be guilty of not paying myself as a movie star from the richest family during Clinton's administrations. So maybe there's a chance
candidates for an impeachment, 2003 or next year behind closed doors in Washington, and also the political allegations for ABC World News Bob Schieffer and for senators and House of Representatives.
What do you think about our friend Superman over here? What would the galaxies have to say about him?
Well, those quintilogical societies with American presidents and 12 galaxies might have been guilty similar to an embezzlement of my intelligence, using extrasensory perceptions, brainwashing my perceptions, and just creating some sort of impossibilities.
This guy's been blowing Superman for 17 years.
Okay.
One of the most notable things about this story are Frank's signs. He buys a new distinctive sign every week from a sign maker. These signs have colourful lettering in all capitals on a black background, and Frank has a very unique style of writing his messages. You see, he uses some kind of psychic ability to talk to past Soviet Union presidents, who help guide him with the message to write on the signs. He also gets help from former UN presidents who help him with the signs and also help him to avoid problems with the CIA. The Soviet Union and UN are a shining beacon of light in the fight against the 12 galaxies, and Frank is quoted to say, "The UN presidents and their friends with the ESP can help me with choosing syllables that are referring to terminology outdating today's dictionary." Frank has made many signs over the years, but my personal favourite reads, "Jefferson, CBS, attempted murders committed against Malakoff's testicle, populations 1 zillions. It's one of Frank's more easily understood signs.
Well, CBS News had a chance to film me about other societies of other planets and about myself not paid as a movie star. So hopefully in several years or a few years, I'll go to the United Nations, try to get it proven, and try to sue for damages too.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good to me.
The amount of galaxies has changed over the years. From what I can tell, the amount of galaxies are the amount of guilty galaxies. This has gone from 12 to 85 to 700,000 to many millions. Then this changed to listing guilty populations instead. I'm not sure why this changed, but now the number of guilty populations are numbers previously unknown to mankind. Frank will jump on any movement or protest, sporting event or public gathering to get his message out to the world, which can be pretty funny when you have a serious political protest with lots of angry people, then you just cut to Frank chilling with his sign. If ever a news crew is in the area doing a report, Frank will stand behind them with his sign and gets interviewed by the news team sometimes, who let him spread his message. Some unexpected things about his signs that I found are that he has hundreds of old signs at his home. Well, I guess that one's not that surprising, but he is a professional protester apparently. He sells his old signs to his fans and even has sponsorship deals where he advertises on the back of his signs for a fee of $100 a week. He also gets donations from his fans and gets state benefits which help him get by. Another unexpected thing is that his signs have appeared in art galleries all over the world, including San Francisco, Lithuania, Estonia, Belgium and China. I had a look into this claim the best that I could, and it seems to be true. There is also a website where you can make Frank Chew signs called Chewmaker. I'm guessing Frank doesn't run this website. If you don't fill in any of the lines with words, the blank spaces will be filled with automatically generated Chewglish. I did find one video of Frank without his signs and not protesting, which is when he attended a Macworld gathering in 2010.
Well, I think they got a lot of nice computers, iPhones, and a lot of nice technological firms here, like the Hewlett-Packard, the Macworld, the IBM, and a lot of new nice cell phones. And also, I saw some of the, I guess they have some other TV crews here. I saw NBC over here, so when I saw them out before, I met their crews before, so they filmed me about myself as a movie star too, and I told them about the populations and other galaxies.
Frank is such a local legend in San Francisco that a bar called 12 Galaxies was opened, with Frank going and giving talks from time to time. But sadly this bar is now closed down. Some other random little tidbits about Frank is that he goes to church every Sunday. When he is out protesting, he usually goes to Panda Express and orders chicken and mushroom or beef with broccoli. But he also really likes Cheesecake Factory and Starbucks. In the year 2000, he was given the award of the best protester by the San Francisco Bay Guardian, and in 2007 he was awarded the Best Pathological Citizen by SF Weekly. If you live in a place where this is an award, it's probably time to move. It's honestly hard to not like Frank. He is not out there screaming and shouting, making trouble. He just stands with his sign, and if someone asks him a question, he will answer them. Frank has been doing this pretty much every day for the last 30 years, but he is getting old now. He was recently hospitalised after falling down the stairs at a train station, which left him partially paralysed due to damage to his spine. He couldn't protest for 2 months after this, but has now made a full recovery and is back on the streets spreading his message to the world in its full glory. In some ways, this is a sad story of a man who has spent his life protesting aliens. The society around him not caring enough to help break his delusions, instead encouraging them. People lost in the self-obsessed demands of the modern world. But in other ways, this is the story of a man with the kind of drive and dedication that most can only dream of, creating a mission for himself. Something to conquer and overcome in a world devoid of the masculine challenges for which we were created. Admittedly, Frank chose a pretty big challenge to try and overcome. Instead of just sitting in his house and wasting away, Frank is out in the real world talking to real people and spreading some kind of goodwill to the world. A very strange version of goodwill, but everyone that talks to Frank seems to like him and are happy that they've met him. The most recent thing that I could find on Frank is that he is planning on taking a 3-week holiday to Las Vegas and taking a little break from all the protesting. Well, my guess would be that he's going to take a few signs with him just in case. Let's wish him the best with his life and hope that he gets paid all of the money that he is owed.
Well, about 25 years ago, the extrasensory perception started talking to me, like reading my mind. It was like in the invisible cell phone. It could talk to me through my mind and read my mind and tell me that I was a movie star and telling me about populations of other galaxies. And then I could picture Gorbachev and Cherenko and the Soviet presidents talking to me on my side, helping me out, and identifying Bill Clinton or Bush and Cheney with the 12 galaxies of populations that are guilty of the impeachments. And the UN presidents and the friends were also identified, talking to me and helping me with the campaigns.
Watch this video about the Joker of Nottingham. He's not as nice as our buddy Frank, but interesting nonetheless. Subscribe to the channel, like the video and give me money as I like money. Thanks to the channel members and Patreons, and bye bye.
Space vacations with populations across other galaxies.